everybody. My dad thinks his podcast is amazing, so please subscribe, give it 5 stars or whatever, and maybe he'll finally stop talking about it. Anyways, welcome to Sobriety.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Ryan. This is Jessica. We are sober as fuck. Before we get to today's powerhouse guest, Jessica's going to go over a few things with you.
Yes. So like always, trigger warning, we talk about all of the things, sobriety, recovery, mental health issues, grief, self-harm, all of the fun stuff. So with that said, prioritize your own mental health and sanity. And if you start feeling some way, please log off. But assuming that you stick around and you love it, make sure you go to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you send it to any and everyone you know, because sharing is caring and we want everybody to hear our message. We also have our website, our-noon.com. You can stream the podcast on all platforms there. We have blogs that we update. I'm trying to update them weekly. Right now it's bi-weekly because girls got a lot of shit to do. Okay. So, we have new merch on there. We'll have our Pride merch up long term. It's not coming down. We're always adding things and updating things. Tons of resources for all of the stuff that we talk about. And we would love for you to share your story. So we like to highlight stories on our blog from our viewers and our guests. So if you have a story that you want to share, you can share it by emailing us. All of the information is on the website. You can DM us on Instagram, Noon. Our website has a Facebook page. Go there. I mean, send it with a homing pigeon, however you want to get it to us. And we'll take a look at it, and we would love to share it on our website because we are just the vessels for the message. Right. Okay. We are just the vessels.
We're here for you. And if you have any questions for us, for the show, anything like that, reach out to us through the website. Yes, reach us out.
Reach us out through
Instagram,
the website.
whichever works best for you. Direct messages as well with any questions that you have.
Yeah, just say, hey, fucker, I'm trying to do something. Respond.
That's terrible.
And I'll say, okay.
You'll give it to me.
No, whatever. Oh, my gosh. You're like my assistant.
Pretty much.
Whatever. Don't listen to him. Who do we have today?
So today we have a guest of mine. We've actually kind of grew up with each other in sobriety. We're within a week of each other, actually, from our sobriety dates. Let's bring in my good friend, Nirvana Sherman. Hello, Nirvana. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us on the show. We greatly appreciate it. How's the weather down in Miami today?
It's perfect. I hope it's good like that wherever you are. But yeah, it's really nice, actually.
It's supposed to rain here today.
It rained for the past 4 days, so this is the first day of sunshine.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Yes.
That's awesome.
The plants need it.
Yes.
And before we get started with this, and I know you're probably so sick of people asking you this, but everyone is thinking it. I know the answer. Is Nirvana your government name?
It is my birth given name. My parents named me that. They were meditators, very young. My mom was 19. My dad was 21, and they discovered their guru and had me on a mountain in Venezuela, and they named me that.
Oh, wow.
So not
cool.
after the band, after the actual state of mind, Nirvana.
Yes, I was about 14 or 15 when I started listening to Nirvana, and that changed my name from being like, what kind of weird name do you have, to are you named after the band, which I'm glad I wasn't. I'm glad it's about the state of mind.
That's so cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that out of the
I
way.
didn't know that about you. Which is really, I know a lot about you, but I did not know that. That was really cool.
It shows age, though, right? Like, if I think the band, that automatically ages me. Because I feel like Lily's age, our daughter, and younger generations, you say Nirvana, and they only think of the state of mind or a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. But if you think of the band, You're likely 40 or older.
Well, now even 14-year-olds are wearing Nirvana shirts.
Oh, yeah,
So
They just have no
keeps
idea.
going.
They have no
It's
idea
amazing.
what it
Yeah.
is.
That's
So
awesome.
you're fine.
Well, so let's dive in with you. So give me the story about your sobriety. What was it that changed your relationship with alcohol?
So it was kind of a surprise. I wasn't really looking to become sober when I discovered the Reframe app, which a friend of mine had not recommended actually. We went out to lunch and we always drink wine, and he was like, I'm not drinking today. I'm drinking once a week. And because I've been learning about alcohol in this app. And so out of curiosity, I went home and just checked out the app and thought, I'm going to just learn about it. I was not looking to stop drinking or drink less. But when it asked me to start entering how many drinks I was having, that was the first time in a long time since there's one other time when I was 21 where I was living in Aspen and I was partying a lot. And I thought, I think I'm drinking too much. And at that time, I was young and I did go to one AA meeting, but there was an old man there who told me I don't belong there. He's like, you're not an alcoholic, you're just young. And so I never thought about it again until I started entering it into the Reframe app. And then I was like, oh, that's actually a lot more than I probably should be drinking. And then learning about the science, then I realized, oh, this is actually affecting my body so much more than I ever thought. And that's how I started just paying attention more, and then looking at how it was affecting my life. And I'm trying to think, like, I first started cutback. I was on the cutback track for about 80 or 90 days. So I was like, oh, okay, I shouldn't be drinking 20 drinks a week, which it never occurred to me that that's how much I was drinking, because it was just normal to drink at dinner and then like 1, 2, 3 glasses, and then times that like 5 to 7 days a week. It's like, wow, it added up. And then after about 80 days of cutback, I tried Dry July. And that was the first time going 30 days without drinking, I think, since I maybe was 18, 19. So I just felt good at the end of that. And so I'm like, let me just keep going. And I didn't say forever. I did not want to say forever. And then here I am 2 years later. And I was like, wow, now I realize how different I can be and how much I can enjoy my life without alcohol. Like, I did not realize that. I thought it just went hand in hand. Fun is alcohol.
I think a lot of us thought that way, and congratulations on 2 years, by the way.
You too.
Which is awesome. Thank you so much.
May 25th, right? You're May 20th.
20th and 25th.
Yeah. Congratulations to both of you.
But what I was going to ask as a follow-up to that was how, since you've changed, I mean, obviously there wasn't like some big event, it's just your curiosity and the neuroscience, which I think is very powerful too. That really helped me out, kind of pushed me a little bit more, I think, than what I wanted. How has it actually changed your life for the better?
Well, I am a mom of 4 kids and 2 dogs and a husband and a house to take care of. And I was using it to do everything. To clean the house, to go to birthday parties, to take the kids to the movies, to like everything. And so then now that I removed the alcohol, I realize I'm present. I am laughing with them. I'm doing things with them out of the goodness of my heart, not just because I'm like buzzed and have, let's make a cake or whatever it was. Like, now I'm just doing things out of joy, like the true joy of living without being affected. And so I've just that's the big part, like mothering and actually being present and not hiding from the actual difficulties, thinking like homework time, for example, used to just be really stressful. This is like, my daughter hated doing homework. So I thought that it would be easier for me to help her do her homework if I was drinking. And now I can help, and I can actually help. Like, I wasn't really there. I was like, yeah, do this and this. And I wasn't really paying attention to the details. So all the details are there. I'm so happy for that. That's pretty much just the presence of life is there for me, and I can do the things I love.
Yeah, it's like when you remove yourself from it, it's shocking how much alcohol is integrated directly into parenting. Like, even like kids' birthday parties, years ago, we got invited to a birthday party, a kid's birthday party, and there was an open bar for parents. And at the time, you don't think about it. Everybody, like, the kids are in one room, like, doing whatever, and the parents are in the other room, like, heeing and hawing it up and having wine or whatever. And nobody thought about it. But then years later, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, all of us, like us included, we were just sitting there drinking wine and champagne and then loading our kids up in the car and driving home like it was no big deal. And nobody made a fuss about it. It's not seen as like abnormal, because there's this assumption that, oh, we know you parents don't want to be at this birthday party, so we'll just liquor you up to make it more palatable. And the mommy wine culture, and even like dads and bourbon, like, it's one of those things where it's a stereotype for a reason. And really, you don't even have to be a parent. Really what it is it's just pushing that narrative of, you want to escape your life, and this is going to make it easier to do that. And that's so true. Like, when you get sober, you realize you're creating a life. It's not just that you're sober and more present. Like, you want to be more present. You're creating a life that you don't want to escape from, and it's so much more enjoyable. And I find too, especially with parents, like, the way that they connect with their kids in sobriety is always this like pleasantly shocking thing. Like, oh my gosh, I've always known my kids, but like, I didn't realize how much I was really missing on an intellectual and an emotional level too. How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
No. The youngest is 7, then 12-year-old girl. So I have 3 boys and 1 girl. So the 7-year-old's a boy, 12-year-old girl, 14-year-old boy, and 21-year-old almost man. And they're all home.
Oh, wow.
Us, so
that's kind of like him too. He has 4 kids, and they're spread out like that. Yeah. So how do you have a girl just like right smack in the middle of all those boys. Does she like boss them around? How does that go?
She's tough. She's a tough cookie. They play fight, her and the 14-year-old, or I have to stop them from wrestling and kicking each other in the stomach sometimes. But you just made me think when you were talking about how now I'm so happy to be sober at the time where she's like going into puberty, and they all are, the 2 are, and so asking questions and just being present enough to be like, how are you feeling, and things that I just, before we'd just be running around and doing, dropping off places, but there wasn't like that real conversation. And so I'm
our daughter's 14 and we love her, and it's difficult, but you're so right, because I think about if we were still drinking, dealing with the things like, your kids piss you off sometimes just because they're hormonal and they have no idea what they're doing, but you can't read between the lines as well if you're clouded. So we would be faster to just get pissed and be like, you're being an asshole, which sometimes we still do. Yeah. But you can see the little subtle hints in your kids now too, to really know what's going on and connect with them. I think that's awesome. And your oldest is, you said 21?
Yes.
So right there, drinking age, what kind of did your kids know that you struggled with alcohol? What do those conversations look like now?
So interestingly, I've had a lot of meetings, like the Reframe meetings on in the background. And so my 21-year-old the other day was like, were you like an alcoholic or something? And he actually said that, because I was not visibly drunk ever. Maybe once, where I actually looked back on the conversation, I was like, oh, I was making a fool out of myself in the car. But it was rare for me to seem drunk, or for anyone to be able to tell, because I really didn't feel drunk. I have a very high tolerance, despite my build. Like, it was kind of crazy how much I built this tolerance up. But the one thing my daughter one time pointed out to me is that my cup, she would ask me if she can drink like my drink, looking for water. And she said, Mom, your cup is never water. And so her saying that to me was a huge eye opener. And from that moment on, I was like, she's right. Because I don't remember if I was on cutback yet, or if I was even on, I was on Reframe, but I wasn't like taking sobriety seriously. It was just like cutting down. So that was one big shift. And my 14-year-old, I remember when I was on cutback, he was like, why don't you just quit altogether? Like, why don't you just stop 100%? I may have said something about like, oh, I drink however many drinks this week. I don't remember. I was very open with them about it. And because I was feeling so good and so happy about it. And I was sharing the information about the brain with them, like how alcohol creates artificial dopamine and how, you know, that was a huge thing for me too, to realize, because I had suffered from anxiety and things like that for a certain amount of years in my life, like previous to being sober. And then I realized, like, oh, no wonder I'm creating this fake dopamine. So I'm not creating my own that I need to feel happy and joy and all this. So, but yeah, and my 21-year-old doesn't like alcohol. He just is not interested in it. So it's really good. Like, he kind of turned 21 and like he'll drink a beer here and there, but not like me. By 21, I was already like, I mean,
yeah.
I had been drinking for years. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great that he gets to see that. And obviously you're leading, by example. I've kind of taken the same thing on with my oldest son as well. We like to golf and hang out and stuff like that. He's actually enjoys my NA beers, which shocked the absolute shit out of me. I was just one day, he just, starts drinking them with me, and he doesn't drink around, which is really great. I don't know what he does in his own time. Don't care. But when he's around me, he lives that life, which I think is really cool. So I think that's great. You're setting that example for your kids, just because, I know what it's like, and it's great to see. It's great to see them growing and asking questions too. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're open and honest about it, because all they're doing is learning from, hopefully, learning from our mistakes, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point. But when they see, we're open and honest about it, and I think they can tell, I think it's definitely an influence on their life.
Yeah, when he asked me, my 21-year-old, when he asked me, were you an alcoholic or something, like, I don't consider myself that. I consider myself tricked by the system, and like what you were saying before. Yeah. I thought that it was normal. I thought it was healthy for my heart. This whole like, oh, Europeans drink every day, so it's fine. So like I didn't think of it as an issue at all. And so and then when I read there's a book, I think Holly Whitaker is the author, with Quit Like a Woman, which was one of the first books that I read in like the sober reading. And she goes into all the details on how much, like, the mommy wine culture, how much drinking, the percentage of women raised, the drinking raised, like, I don't know how many, 60% or something between a certain amount of years. And I was like mad. I was like, I was tricked. So that's how I felt. I've always been a little bit rebellious. So that really got me like, oh, no. I fell for the system. So I did explain that. I'm like, no, I wasn't alcoholic, but I did use it every day because I thought it was normal. And it is normal. It's normalized. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and I remember even when I was like breastfeeding our daughter, like trying to figure out, well, how many drinks can I have, and then pump and dumping. And again, like, now that you're removed from it, it's like anything that you have to sit there and try to talk yourself into and convince yourself is okay, so long as you do this and don't do, like, that's probably a red flag that, like, it's just not good. Like, you're just sitting there trying to convince yourself that it's okay, right? When you know for sure that it's not. And you do with your kids the same thing. I mean, I do it, but I'm going to give you the credit with all four of your kids, that you're loudly sober, right? And you make it about the sobriety and not so much about the drinking. And I think it's such a great thing, because we know that our kids are going to fuck up as they grow. Like, that's part of their journey. Like, you can tell, I took this from somewhere. I saw it, like, you can tell them that the wall is there and they're going to run into it. But until they run into it and break their nose, they're not going to learn that it's there. So I think being open with your kids, and then being able to see that at any point in your life, no matter what age, or whether, you have big rock bottoms or you just decide to get better, it shows them by example that, it's okay it's okay if you're struggling. We can talk about it, and you can change, you can get better. We also live in a society that really sensationalizes, like, youth, like, growing up is like, oh, when you're 25, it's, you better be a doctor, or if you're a athlete, like, oh, you're on your way to retirement or whatever. And we really ignore and underestimate the power of wisdom and time and age, and how at any point in your life you can switch. I have a story very similar to yours where I would not say that I struggled with alcohol, but it got to a point where I just realized it wasn't bringing me anything. Like, it was just bringing me migraines and belly aches. And I was using it to, make your drinking feel better, or social environments like going to seedy bars. And the only way that you can really like make that fun is by having a drink, when really it wasn't enjoyable. I didn't really have a rock bottom, same thing. And our daughter asked me, she was like, she said the same thing. Well, Mom, were you an alcoholic? And I said, no, like, you don't have to have a reason or some big life event to say, I don't like what I'm doing to my mind and my body, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I think that's a really important story to tell. Some people do. Some people struggle. You struggled a lot and, damaged a lot of things. It doesn't have to be that way. So I really commend you, because if I was doing the math in my head and I'm thinking like 3 drinks a night for most people is very, very normal. Like, you go home, you're making dinner, you have some wine or beers while you're watching whatever or doing whatever. And 20 drinks a week doesn't, for most people, would not seem anything, but it is.
Yeah.
You know?
More than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cancer rates that come out, like how much it can lead to like breast cancer. It's like, just if you see those facts alone, that's enough. That was enough for me to say, oh yeah, why would I raise my chances of cancer by continuing to put alcohol in my system?
Yeah. And to circle back on one thing you were talking about before, your anxiety. And speaking of mental health, which we talk about a lot, Jess has had her struggles with it, and so have I. I'm a very anxious person as well, but one thing I did notice over the past couple years is, like, my stress level's gone down a lot. My anxiety's gotten so much better. What have you noticed mental health wise or health wise? You can answer both, that you've noticed since you've quit.
Yeah. So I was having panic attacks, like mostly parenting related. Like if I had a parent teacher conference or something, I don't know why it would just make me so anxious, and I would have panic attacks, and I would be like sweating, dripping, going into talk to the teacher with like my back soaking wet. And I have not had, I mean, that was almost weekly, just dealing with like teachers. I don't know. It was just kind of stressful, with certain situations, but no more panic attacks, like very rare, if it's something like, I don't know, it'd have to be serious. It's like, I can't even think of an example, but like something on a plane, like if the plane is shaking or something like that, might give me a little bit of anxiety, but that completely went away. I used to have chronic neck pain where my doctor told me that I would have to consider pain management. He was like, that's it. There's really, your spine is the way it is, and you're going to have to deal with this pain. So if you want to go on pain management. And I was like, no, I never liked like pills and things like that. So, that went away. My neck pain, literally like within a year of not drinking anymore, like no more neck pain. I have other pains now and certain other things, but it's not the neck, which proves that he had told me like, this is the way it is, and you're going to have this for the rest of your life. And no, that's not true. So the pain, the anxiety, and that went away. I just feel more joy in natural things, like just being in my garden, just being, I'm just happy with the freedom of my mind. It's time. Like now looking back at how much time, like you were talking about, calculating how much could you drink? Cause I went through the same thing with the breastfeeding and stuff, like how much time it's spent to even waiting at bars, like going to a wedding and then standing in the stupid bar line for who knows how long. Now I look at it, I'm like, wow, I could just be here listening to music or dancing or talking to somebody instead of, so I've gotten time back. I've gotten my physical body to feel good. Just the fact that I was able to do exercise and get back into an exercise routine, which I was always too lazy. I guess I was just tired. I called it laziness because I would beat myself up for not wanting to work out, but I guess my body just couldn't. I couldn't motivate. Yeah, and I do have ADHD, so it was like combined. I think the alcohol was sort of like a medication for that. Like on the side, it helped me be social or have a little bit less social anxiety. Not that I have social anxiety, but like it just makes it easier sometimes to like walk into a room full of people and just be like, hey, yeah, let's have a whatever, some margarita or something like that. It was like something to talk about. And now I'm like, how small is that? I like big conversations. I like philosophy. I like literature. I love, talking about books and things. And why limit all my conversations to something like about what we're drinking? That's the conversation. Now I can hear people talking. A lot of it is like about drinking.
I have ADHD as well, and I struggle with a ton of mental health stuff. And I always joke with people and I say, I either am the person who I'm way oversharing and you know everything about my life by the time we're done, like more than you asked for, or I'm the weirdo in the corner and they're like, is she okay? Like, does she speak? Like, is she going to be okay?
Or the other.
Well, and that's, anyone who's listening or watching this who is neurodivergent will be like, that's normal. I thought everybody did that. That's not exclusive to me. But yeah, I think, with alcohol, it's a depressant. So it like slows things down. And so you trick yourself into thinking that it's turning the noise down, but it's not really. It's just like, it's like having a song playing and then having another song that's playing on top of it, just louder, and you're not paying attention to the original song. And yeah, when you're drinking, I mean, you feel like shit because you're sick. Your body is like, it's poison. It's like, we need to heal. But you, and we talked about this before we came on, you did a variation of 75 hard. So you really pushed your body to the limit on that. And regardless, like that's 75 hard is, I mean,
you're a badass. That's all there is.
To me, you're the representation of 75 hard because I first found out about it on your speaker share on Reframe. So to me, it was like Ryan's 75 hard. Like that's why I don't even know the guy who started it, because I just like, all I had to hear was your story. Actually, it was super inspiring hearing your speaker share, really, and just seeing your physical transformation and mental transformation, and like talking about your daughter and your relationships with your kids and how all that, and you too, because you talked about your wife on there, and it was just so inspiring, and that made me want to commit to now exercising, because my husband is very fit and he works out all the time, and he grew up like that. Like it's normal for him to wake up every day and go to the gym. For me, I used to just do like water sports or things, but it wasn't gym workouts. And that got me to have consistency. And so I joke because it's 75 hard-ish, because I can't drink a gallon of water a day. And, but I did do the 2 workouts a day, the indoor, the outdoor. I used to go to the pool and just like kick my legs for 45 minutes. And I did see such a transformation in my physical strength and my body. And only in 50, I think I did 57 days. And I'm so good with that. Like, to me, that's a huge accomplishment. Yeah.
That's a long time. I mean, 57 days.
To work out every day, twice a day, and read 10 minutes a day, and all those things. And I love to read, and it actually forced me to read, because I'm always having like all these books at my nightstand, and I just sort of flip through them, but I needed to finish it. So I got to finish the book. Yeah. And I think we're very similar with that.
I either in my room reading like 5 books back to back, or like recently I've hit a stalemate where like I put the book down and it's been like months. But I know when I pick it up, you're going to be like, are you ever coming out of this room?
Yeah, but I'm really committed to finishing my books now. And
that's awesome.
And dedicating more time and more self-care, just like taking care of myself and putting myself first, and not just running around like a crazy chicken. Like as a mom, like I realized how burnt out I was. Yeah. But I didn't really feel it because I was just like drinking through it all. So I didn't realize, wow, I was really burnt out, and my life was flying by. The kids were growing up, and I wasn't taking care of like the things for me that I want as I go into I'm going to be 50 next year. So, and I want the next few years or 50 years of my life, however long I live, to be like healthy and clear. So that was, it all just like set me up in the perfect time of my life.
That's for this. Awesome. What other kind of things did you do? Like some people do, journaling, the reading is great, or like meditation, things like that. Like what else do you do to sort of just like help with your mental health and keep you focused? And when you're having those days, maybe where you don't want to drink, but where a part of you wants to drown out the noise, because we all have those days, whether you have the craving to drink or whatever, where you're just like, I need something to just shut the world up. What have you found that has really helped like center you and keep you focused.
I do have a meditation practice. I need to get more consistent. I should probably create a meditation challenge
Yes.
for myself so that I do it every day. But I do practice transcendental meditation, the TM method. And then I also got back to my yoga because I used to do yoga a lot. I mean, not as much as even now. Like now it's like 2 to 3 times a week. So that's just the time when I'm on the mat is my release of just like all the stress, and I can really give myself that time. Just reading a book to me is like escaping, you know, just sitting and giving myself that time. But I do have a meditation practice, but this reminds me I have to be more consistent with it because I love it. And it's really, they do tests on your brain, how your brain really can improve the connections and create all these things, like new paths and things. So I need to do that. But as far as like being sober and in those moments where I don't really consider drinking anymore. Like it's not, but I do love my NA drinks. I love them. I create on my Sober Rodeo on Instagram. Like I like to just review the drinks and I get all new ones, and I have like a subscription that sends me new drinks every month. And then the meetings on Reframe. I really love the Reframe app for just being on there, just for like extra support every once in a while. But mostly I just give myself the time on the yoga mat, or if I fit in my meditation or book.
That's totally my kind of vibe right there.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's crazy. It took me about 30 days in to learn, you know, I heard everybody talking about it, yoga and meditation, and I gave it a try. And I'm like, this sucks. But I started doing it, you know, tried making it a habit. You know, I was reading James, you know, Clear's book about, you know, atomic habits and trying to get into it. So, you know, once you do something for a few months, then it's, you know, it's like becomes habitual. You do it every day. You know, now every day I do 10 minutes of meditation, whether it's morning, night, whenever I fit it into my schedule. And it's just so calming. I mean, you just kind of push everything out of the way and it just relaxes you, you know, especially when you get stress from kids or just too much going on. Things can wait 10 minutes. And if you can take that 10 minutes for yourself, to me, that's just huge in the healing process.
I'm going to remind you that things can wait 10 minutes the next time it benefits me.
10 minutes can seem like a long time, but it's really not.
It's so minute. You know, when you look at how many minutes are in a day, you know, 10 minutes is just, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
I think we talked about this on our very first podcast episode where you said there's not enough time in a day. And I said, but there is. It's just you feel this need to fill your time. And in sobriety, that's important, right? Especially if you're someone who struggles with, you know, wanting to drink or gamble or whatever. But filling that time is important. It's just what you fill that time with. And so, you know, something you struggle with is you constantly have to be moving and doing something, and not just like doing something with your mind or body. Like you have to be accomplishing micro tasks all throughout the day. Like you can't stand seeing the laundry hamper with clothes in it. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's like, you know, there's always something. And I'm like, but there always will be something. Like you don't have to let it build up. Like don't leave things undone. But at the same time, you also prioritize where you're spending that mental energy. And what I love about meditation is for some people, it is like about blocking everything out and turning it off. And for others, it's about opening up and letting everything in so that you let it just pass and you feel it and you recognize it and let it go. And that's how I feel about it, is because for me, my brain is always going. I mean, I have thoughts and things that go through, and I'd imagine you're the same, where I don't even realize that they're going through my brain. So when I meditate, more so, if I try to just block everything out, it's an impossible task. So I try to just say, whatever comes in and out of my brain is welcome, and it comes and goes just like anything else, and it's cyclical. And if something stays for too long, then I recognize that it's something that I'm hyper focusing on or bothering me, and I just allow it to exist in that space without giving it my emotional energy. Only when I'm meditating in the middle of the day during emotional frustration, it doesn't work. And I love when you said even like reading is an escape, because reading is very meditative for me because it allows your brain to go off. And I've really found my love of reading too, because I don't know how it is for you, but like rather than it just being a story, like I can envision like what do the characters look like? What color hair do they have? What does the setting look like? If there's a book that is a fiction, you know, and doesn't have a time period, what time period is it? Because I like to read fiction and nonfiction. And then with nonfiction, even then I find myself creating these little like narratives and stories and imagery in my head. And that's fun. I mean, it's like mindful play. I don't know if that's how it is for you, but like that's very
like, yeah, like our brains are so capable of all this imagination and creativity and so much, and it's that's using our brain for what it's for. I mean, even like cave people used to draw cave, you know, drawings, and they would like put their creativity onto, even if it was a wall or something. Like that's what we're supposed to be doing, not just like thinking about, you know, what alcoholic drink we're going to put in, or what, you know, it's like there's so many. I mean, the world is busy and our society is very busy, so now we've focused on all these things that are not as brain growing. I don't know, that's not brain growing. I don't know, like, you know, like self growth.
Yeah.
Yes.
We focus more on instant gratification, something that will make me feel good right now, like right this second, as opposed to letting it be an ever evolving growth of experience. I love that. Yeah. And with you living in Miami where it's pretty temperate, like do you find like yourself, are you a big outdoorsy person? I don't know if you live like right there on the beach, or like, do you find yourself like really loving just going outside and walking? Because there's science behind that too. Just 10 minutes in the sun.
Just getting outdoors.
Yeah, I do.
It's not like that everywhere.
It is. It's true. And I really, actually, I can't imagine having not been able to go outside and walk. Like I got a dog around the same time that I started becoming sober, actually. And even having to walk the dog and have that consistency gave me something to do outside and to take my mind off things. And I would just like listen to meetings and walk around. But I can't imagine living someplace where I was snowed in and not having something to do to get outside. Like it might have been different, but and I'm also lucky that my husband doesn't drink, so that's another thing on this side. Yes, because I hear a lot of people talking about how they're trying to become sober and then they're dealing with a drinking partner. I know it was a total side tangent, but I just wanted to recommend and commend him, because it's so much helpful when you have somebody supporting you who's not doing what you're trying to stop doing in your face. And so, yeah, getting outside was great, to just go in the garden. And I'm really into my plants. Like I love gardening. I don't garden that much, but I do love like taking plants and planting them and just keeping them alive somehow. I've even gotten better at that. I swear, like my plants are happier now that I'm sober.
Well, they say that like talking to your plants and like having that emotional connection actually helps them grow and thrive. That's true.
I'm going to try a science project like on this. I don't know. Just to test it. Cause like I told them to survive.
You should have a little garden where you're like,
I was going to say, you got to
fuck you, you're ugly, right. I hate you.
You got to have one side that's the non-talking side, and then one side the ones that you actually
you have to have one that you insult but still give the same like water and care to, and one that you like compliment.
Do you know that book, The Hidden Messages in Water? Have you ever heard of that? It's a Japanese scientist who did all those tests on water, and he swears that the water crystallizes, the one that has been played like classical music crystallizes like beautiful snowflake shapes, where the one that has played like heavy metal, it's all like discombobulated, not beautiful. And my husband thinks it's all not real, but
well, if he sees you outside berating your garden, be like, you'll never grow to be a big plant. You'll always be small and useless.
That's right.
Yeah, but I have like just talking about being outside and going to stay to the pool. Like we go to the pool a lot, and that was just a regular time to be drinking. And that's where now, like if I feel like it, I'll just have a non-alcoholic drink, and it's the same. It's like I don't feel. That's what I realized. Like I feel just as good and healthier and stronger the next morning.
Because you're not
better
outside
than
hydrated and drunk and hungover.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't even have that many hangovers. Seriously, it's crazy. I had this like weird ability to drink all day long and still wake up the next morning and go do my thing. Like it was
Yeah.
very
That was
strange.
him.
That was me.
Yeah, so that's why it didn't stop me, because I just didn't have those horrible like hangovers. It was very rare, like maybe like twice a year or something would be a bad one, but it was usually combined with like not eating or something off. But
Right.
but yeah, that's where I realized that's where it becomes so habitual. Like, oh yeah, you get to the pool, order drinks right away. They come with the pitchers. No,
It's
Don't
like just
need
they just went together. It seemed like, and I was the same way. And then once I found the, NA drinks, it all that changed everything. So I'm like, wow, I just do this now.
it's the ritual
nothing's
of holding
changed.
something in your hand.
Yes.
It's like the fidget.
Yes.
It's just to have something in my hand, and I love having sparkling water and a lime, or throw
Yeah,
a cherry in it to make
absolutely.
it pretty. It's just that's
Yeah.
all I need.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about not having hangovers. I was the same way. But one thing that was screwed up when I was drinking was my sleep. Have you noticed a big difference in your sleep now that you're not consuming alcohol?
Now I'm using a sleep like recorder thing. Like it records me while I'm sleeping. I never had really even problems sleeping. I do feel more awake when I wake up. I will say that I'm getting more rest. Like I still wake up kind of tired. I'm working on that. Like why? But I've always been a little bit of an insomniac, and so now I'm prioritizing though. Let me go to sleep early because I'm just trying to take care of my brain better too. So in the past, I used to stay up till 2, 3 in the morning. I'm a creative, so I would just be like drawing or reading or painting or doing stuff, and that was hand in hand with like drinking until 2, 3 in the morning, and then I have to wake up the kid for the kids at school at like 6. So I was just really tired. But so now I'm trying to go to bed at like 9:30, which is still hard, but because the kids now they're all awake, and then I'm like, why are they all still awake at 11 o'clock? But I've noticed that I wake up a little bit more refreshed. I'm still not fully up and running and going as much as I'd like to. I want to join that 5 a.m. club where those people like wake up at 5 a.m. and work out in the morning.
Me.
I'm going to you're my idol. Like you're my like fitness goals, man. Yeah. Like I want that. I read that book, the 5 a.m. club or something. I think it was called. And that's where I want to get. I just haven't gotten that level of energy yet, but maybe in my third year of sobriety it'll come.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. I'll say that, and it takes time to get there. It's not like you just decide one day I'm gonna start waking up.
And you hated it first. That was the thing too, and you hated it. But I will say, if you're anything like me with the ADHD and the neurodivergent, like late at night, it's dark and it's quiet. No one's asking anything of you. There's no like multiple noises, and I find myself falling in love with that space, and that will cause me to stay up late because I'm like, there's nothing needed of me right now. And it's so quiet and still. And it's never like that, especially when you have kids. But something that you told me is you find that in your mornings now.
Morning routine.
And so all of the creative time that you would normally spend till like 2:30 in the morning, you transfer that to like actual early morning wake up time. But it is hard. I struggle with sleep too. And it's not that I struggle with like going to sleep. It's that I stay up late because I'll hyper focus on like, the merch for the website, or, this logo was made at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, hyper focusing on Canva. So I can definitely, I can feel you on that one.
Yeah, I have to stop myself. I know I have. I'm just like, it's okay. It can wait.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
So has he always not ever drank, or did he quit drinking too? What is his?
No, he just never really loved. I mean, when we met, we would drink like going out and that was 16 years ago. So we drank, but he was just not a big, heavy drinker. It was like not his thing. And then he would always tell me like how alcohol is not healthy and that there's, so it's not that he quit. He'll have like a drink at a wedding if we go, but that's it. Like he's just not into it. I guess he just knows that it's not healthy, and maybe he's seen other people just not, at their best while they're drunk. So that was
something that gives me a lot of hope, and I see it with younger generations, is sobriety is in. Like, I think that I can only speak for myself, but sometimes I get I'll project onto our daughter, because I think, man, when I was like 16, 17, I was going to people's houses and my mom would think that I was at a friend's house, and I was like drinking and puking in a toilet and passed out under a pool table. And I'm like, my goodness, like, what the hell? But I mean, I'm sure it's still like that to some degree, but I see more and more like younger generations. That's not really the thing. They're not like outwardly drinking, and even like vaping is kind of calming down. It's a lot more issues with like social media and more of the mental health stuff. But as far as drinking alcohol, doesn't seem to be as big of a, what am I trying to say? Like, it's not on this.
I just think there's better shit to do, and they're kind of noticing that.
Well, and I think that that's one of the benefits of all this access to information. You know, like we talk a lot about like the downside to social media and having all this information, and most certainly like it can be detrimental. But one of the good things is you know, you have any information, any science, as long as you are smart researcher,
fact check,
that you have at your fingertips. And so there's also this, you know, when I was puking over a toilet, nobody was taking pictures and posting it on Facebook. And there's a downside to that, but also I think that it adds a speed bump. You know, I mean, like, even if I go out and about, I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna do anything stupid. I don't want to be on TikTok with my panties showing or some stupid bullshit. You know what I mean?
I hope they're concerned. Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
I hope there are no pictures of me or of you out there. Well, I know I have incriminating pictures of you drunk. So don't make me mad. But it gives me hope that people are becoming more aware, and I do find more people having these conversations, and a lot of people who are quitting drinking just because they're like, I don't know that I have a problem with it. I just don't want to do it anymore. Like that's a really beautiful thing to see.
I love that.
Me too. Really to segue, I bet are you about to?
Well, I was going to ask two things. Okay. But yeah, we're about to. So I was just going to, you know, being 2 years in, and obviously we get a lot of new people that watch the show very often. What kind of advice would you give to somebody just kind of starting out on their journey?
Yeah, I would say to like keep something in your hand. Like, I'm a big proponent of the non-alcoholics because, like you said, or for me, when I used to cook dinner or when I used to go to the pool or to the beach, like, just have something. I literally used to put the NA cans in my purse and then just pull it out, and no one cares. No one, I could be at the bar with and pull it out, and, you know, no one's looking at what's in your hand. But also just the confidence of not caring if someone asks, like, why you're not drinking. It's just like, oh, I just don't feel like it is enough. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like it tonight. Yeah. That's it. Because I think people get nervous to have to explain that. And you don't have to explain to people why you don't want to drink. So keeping something in your hand, though, to me, that was like when people quit smoking, they would have those fake cigarettes in their hand, you know, just to like pop on. It's the same thing. Like, just, and finding support if you need support. People who get it. That's what I love about the Reframe app, just because the more I heard stories, there were a few that stood out. Yours was one of them. There was another person who was talking about a drunk driving incident and getting a DUI. And that was just like, oh, wow. You know, just it's preventative. It's like, it's so much better to not put yourself in situations where you could have, you know, get a DUI or something like that. And just I think about those negatives. Because you might not always seem drunk or feel drunk. Like you said, like, you could leave a birthday party, you know, kid's birthday party, and have had a few drinks, and the breathalyzer will tell the truth, even though you don't seem drunk. So I just always kind of kept those things in mind, like the bad things that can happen. But just, I think building self-confidence and having the courage to say, no, I just don't feel like drinking. That's it. You don't have to explain to anyone.
Cool. I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
So, with all of that said, and me just talking about my panties showing and puking over a toilet, we always ask everyone the same question at the end of the podcast. I don't know if you've listened to the other podcasts or not, but we always say, take us back to your drinking days. And we love to hear a good drunken crazy, silly story. Because though alcohol is bad for you and all the things, it adds a lot of humor in your life, and you can look back and laugh on a lot of dumb shit that you've done whenever you're drinking. It doesn't have to be you. It could be a friend. It could be anybody. Just
Yeah.
a hilarious drinking story.
Well, I'm trying to think. There was one incident where we were in the car and it was all the kids, and I don't know why I started talking about like my husband, and I was talking about body parts and things like that. And my kids were in the car, and that was the one. The next day they were like, "Why were you talking about Dad?" And it was so embarrassing that and I was making it up, like I was saying things that weren't even true about my husband. So then that was like. Yeah, that's a sign to not be drunk around your kids and things. But yeah, apparently I gave detailed information about my husband's body parts that I was making up. I don't know, that's the one thing that came to my mind because it was so embarrassing. Growing up, all the things were too normal. Like getting drunk at a concert was just too normal. They don't stand out as just like mortifying, but that was mortifying.
That would definitely be mortifying.
Yeah.
Your kids know more about your husband than they ever cared.
That's right.
Yes, exactly. And it was like make believe. Like I don't know. I don't know why I went there. So yeah,
your kids the next morning like, "Good morning, Dad." Good morning.
Exactly. Yeah, that's enough to say I'm not drinking anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, lesson learned. Yeah, remember that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nirvana, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We greatly appreciate it. It was so great getting to know you even more.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
All right,
bye.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell to get notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby. Word.